On For Members Only Television, an interview taped last month at the Musicians Union Local 47. A 73-year-old jazz legend, John Burke's Dizzy Gillespie. Diz, who gave you your first job?
Let's see. Well, when I first started playing, there was a lady named, I'm a school teacher in the 3rd grade, named Miss Alice Wilson. She organized a minstrel for the school annual show that she put on. And she had a line of, on the stage, she had a line of performers. Some girls dancing, some girls singing, guys dancing, singing. And then we had to have music with that. So she organized a small group. Well, everything was in B flat. And we had a bass drummer, a kettle drummer. We had a bass violin before anybody else had one in South Carolina. I'd never even seen one. My father had one in the house and only had one string. So we played in B flat all the time anyway, so I just made a mark on the fret for my cousin, and everything was in B flat. So he knew where B flat was, and he went from there. And so we had this little band that was playing for the minstrel. With a trombone player, me, snare drum, bass drum, and piano. So we started playing around there, and from that, I learned a couple of numbers, but all in B flat.
B flat.
B flat, yeah. So B flat was there. So, and then I was getting a little name around from there. White high school, played their dances and things like that. And this my leader was a bass drummer. Boy, I never heard nobody play like that since, not before. I learned how to play the bass drum. I could do it now because I know what he does, how he does to get different levels of sound. And he was a good dancer, and he played the hell out of that bass drum. Another guy named, his name was Wes Buchanan. And then he had a brother that was in the World War I that got gassed. And he used to collect a pension from the U.S. government. So they was rich. That was sort of rich, maybe about $30 a month or $35 a month. But they were rich. They had a car and everything like that. And so they organized this little band to play around. So we played around like Bennettsville, Gerald Lauenberg, Hamlet.
It's all South Carolina.
Yeah, well, and North Carolina.
In terms of classification, would you explain to our listeners that there is no need for classification of music?
No, but they have strict rules, and the music, when the music was coming up, when I was coming up, the bass drum player played the bass drum, and he played in two. And we didn't have no sock cymbals. The guy played the top cymbal and the snare drum. Music has a modus operandi, we would say, and just it started developing, and then it lost the title of the music. People still call it jazz, but it keeps going. See, so it keeps changing all the time, our music, but it sticks around the backbeat, the backbeat of 2, 4, 1, 2. The bass don't say boom, that's way. But it changes. The bass drum changes around, but it still maintains that integrity of the backbeat. So whatever music comes after that, that has come after that, they maintain that. Now, the music has different stages of development. There was King Oliver on the trumpet, and then after that, there came Louis Armstrong on the trumpet, and with a little different, but he sounded very close to King Oliver. And then there came Roy Eldridge, who he played a lot of the style of Louis Armstrong, remember that? And then I came along, and then there was Miles and Fats Navarro, came two of them. But they were trying to play like me. You know, see. So all of us got our. I tried to play like Roy Eldridge. Everybody's got their hero, you know. And then after that came Clifford Brown. Clifford Brown had a new way of. He would attack every note when he played, and then the young guys liked that. So there was Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan. They were the leaders of that age, that movement, yeah. And then after that, after Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan, and then creators, there haven't been too many really true creators of a style that you can turn on the radio and hear two bars and say that is,
Cool.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of Wynton Marsalis?
Well, you see, Wynton is at a little disadvantage. For one thing, he plays classical music. We don't play jazz like classical music. We have little turns and twists and turns. That is not. But Wynton has a very good idea because he was raised up in New Orleans, and his father was a good musician. So he has a good. He's the best that can play classical and jazz together. But the way you play is different in jazz. So I don't know if he keeps playing jazz, the style will maybe never develop, you know, because he's ensconced with the idea of classical playing trumpet. You have to play that way to play those notes.
There's a great difference in music and in terms of appreciation of the music. Is there some truth to this statement? Jazz, as we know it today in America and the world, is more appreciated in Europe and Asia than it is in America.
I don't know if that's true or not. You see, Louis Armstrong has had a great deal of respect. In recent years, I've had quite a number of things that happened to me, like the President's Medal of Honor, New Jersey Medal of some artist, what is his name? His name, very famous poet. I mean,
Walt Whitman?
Walt Whitman, exactly.
I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you know he's from New Jersey, too, huh? Yeah. Well, and then I received, let me see, the President's Medal, the Wolf Trap Medal, many honorary doctorates, about 14, 15. So we're it's a certain amount of respect now, but it's still not up to the classical.
Why do you think this is the case?
Because that's white music and we black music, and that's the difference. You can't escape the fact that you are black. So that is the reason for that point.
In terms of the music that was created in this country, African American music, looking back, say 60 years or 70 years, or thus in this music created by African American people, who do you think or what period of this music was the most important?
I wouldn't attempt to say that.
Okay, could it have been the spirituals? Could it have been the slave songs?
Well, it was just an area of development. Yeah, it's the development where you know, you figure out blues or what you think. Blues had a great influence on the music because all of the musicians played the blues and still play the blues. Not exactly like the older guys, but it's the blues that they're playing. So I would say that the blues period had a profound effect on our music. Even all the music that comes after that, you can turn around and take Charlie Parker, played the blues better than anybody, and he's one of the leaders of bebop. So I wouldn't say
any particular music or musics. We'll be back with more of John Burke's Dizzy Gillespie after these messages. What did you think of the movie Bird?
I don't think of it because I didn't see it.
You haven't seen it yet?
No.
So evidently you don't think about it.
No.
It wasn't important.
Well, I spoke to Clint Eastwood, and he sent me a copy of the tape. But when I heard the stories around about the musicians, how they felt about it was a personal thing. It wasn't. It had too much to do with music. I wasn't interested in this. I knew his personal life, you know. So
I hear you. What is your assessment of a great trombonist who played with you numerous times, and she's handicapped now? She's sick and recovering from a stroke. Her name is Melba Liston.
One of our prizes. This lady, she plays well on the trombone, and then she writes magnificently. So she's really a jewel.
Clora Bryant.
Clora Bryant is another one. Clora has educated herself to a degree unheard of in jazz before. She's a great trumpet player. She's another writer and musical writer, and also literature writer, and got great ideas about the situation of music in the United States. She knows about it, and she's just great.
What about Los Angeles? You were here in Los Angeles's music history in terms of the 40s and 50s. Can you maybe pinpoint an experience here musically that...
Billy Berg's.
Billy Berg's?
It's in Hollywood.
Could you
So
describe an experience that took place
It was a hell of an experience, but we upset California, the music lovers in California. We were there for 8 weeks, and went away, and we came back, and I came back with a big band and played there, and that was a profound experience there because a lot of the movie stars came out, such as Ava Gardner, you know.
Looking back on the music, and you are indeed a primary resource, definitely one of the innovators of various movements in what we call African-American music in this country. What is the reason, or why is Dizzy Gillespie so successful?
Well, maybe because I combine all the elements of a performer and as a musician. Like for example, I just made a film in Portugal and Spain. A starring part, you know, in a film, you know, and I learned a lot of the tricks of the trade from guys like Cab Calloway, Earl Hines, Tiny Bradshaw, Billy Stein. You know, I learned things from them, and I'd say, hey, that works. Boom, you know.
It really does. There was something that happened when you were rather young, and you were with the Cab Calloway band. As a matter of fact, one of his earlier bands. There was an altercation that took place, and give us some insight on it.
the altercation with Cab Calloway was you know, in the band there was Milton Hinton, Tyree Glenn, who were very funny guys. You know, they do little things on the stage, and sometimes we would do it. Like, I'll give you an example. I would stand up and hold up something in my hand like this, and drop it, and then kick it, and Milton Hinton would move like it hit him. You know, one of those things, and little things like that. So Cab didn't like that very much because he was a big star of the band. And so one time in Hartford, Connecticut, Cab came out on the stage and saw Spitball on the stage. And immediately he said, Dizzy, you know. So when the curtain came down, he said, the guys got up to leave. He said, wait a minute, UMFs. You in one of the greatest theaters in the world, and you're first class and everything, and you act like a bunch of kids from the ghetto kids, or something of that nature. And then he says, and you, Dizzy, you throwing spitballs out. Well, they had a little small band then. It was a little jealousy in the small band, you know, with Chu Berry was a great musician, but he had a sense of threatening, you know, because I just come from a swinging band in the Savoy Ballroom, and I was getting my little stuff together. I'd heard Charlie Parker, and I'd got some of that together, and I'd already been playing like Roy Eldridge for a long time, similar to Roy Eldridge style. So I was flying. That would have been ready for me to go in, you know. But Chu blocked that. All the guys wanted me. I used to help Milton Hinton. I showed Milton Hinton a solo on Girl of My Dreams. This is in 1939. He knows it right now, this minute. You say, play the chord, and he'll play it.
But what happened, getting back to the
altercation?
altercation?
I'm getting to it. So I'm going to tell you the reasons. So, and he said, you did, you throwing it. I said, well, I didn't throw anything out on this stage. He said, don't tell me, I say you did it. I said, well, which one, every one of your flunkies told you that I threw it out on the stage, the line, and I said a bad word, blah, blah. And he said, I didn't say anybody told me. I said, you did? I said, well, you did, so-and-so. And then he started up through the saxophones, trombones, trumpet. He got through the saxophone, and Butter, Quentin Jackson, Kay Johnson, the other trombone player, and Tyree grabbed him because they knew I was dangerous. I'd heard stories about how Cab Calloway punched musicians in the mouth and things like that.
Was he as bad as Billy Eckstine?
Huh?
Was he as tough as Billy Eckstine? Cab Calloway. Eckstine, they say, was a bad motor scooter. I mean, he would throw lefts and rights on you in a minute.
Yeah, but I never
Never encountered B.
No, we were too close. But anyway, they held him, and he said, "Get off my stage," you know. Yeah, so I said, "Okay." And I went, and I started to my dressing room. And by that time, he had already gone in his dressing room, and his door was open. And he saw me coming up, and he said, "Why are you little so-and-so and so-and-so? I'll wipe this floor up with you out here." And I said, "You to me?" Because I didn't do anything. And he came out and grabbed me in the collar. When he grabbed me in the collar, my knife opened in my pocket. And I went for my knife, and I hit him. But I was trying to kill him, maybe, because they're taking advantage of a young guy. I was only in my 20s, early 20s. And Milt Hinton knocked the knife down. Because he knew I was dangerous. He knew I would, you know, I didn't bother anybody. I didn't expect anybody to bother me. So the knife nicked him in his butt.
That was it?
Yeah, and then blood came out on this white tuxedo. He said, "Get out of here." They paid me off, and I went on home. That's how that happened. There was no big deal.
Give me one good statement on Duke Ellington.
The master.
The Walt Disney Company wants to do business with you. If you are a minority business person, this message is for you. Here's Malik Ali, corporate manager of Minority Business Enterprises, the Walt Disney Company.
One thing that all people agree is necessary for a successful business is money. Yet, a growing business can consume capital, and that's where establishing a successful relationship with a banker is important. Most new business people wait until they need money before they go to see their banker. Successful business people establish a relationship with their banker by talking to them about their business, showing their financial statements, and describing their financial needs. Take them to lunch and take them to see your business. If you follow this formula, your banker will be calling you instead of you calling them. If you want to find out how to sell your product or service to the Walt Disney Company, please contact me, Malik Ali, at area code 305-828-3586, or write us at the Walt Disney Company, P.O. Box 10,000, Lake Buena Vista, Florida, 32830-1000.
I'll do anything. I'll do penance. Give me penance, but make that guy go away.
No way. If this summer has made you a skeptic, then this movie will make you believe.
Hey, Molly, I know about the green underwear that you wrote your name on.
Would you stop rambling?
He's got an attitude now.
A movie David Anson of Newsweek calls a comedy, romance, and supernatural thriller rolled into one.
Thank you so much.
Ghost.
Are you a believer?
Rated PG-13. Now playing at theaters everywhere.
Members only, it's a private party. Don't need no money to qualify. Don't bring your check.